sequence start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I live by the old code of second floor!
Why look for a scientific explanation when you can put blind trust in an invisible Sky Daddy?
Sky Daddy all the way.
Go watch your crappy sitcom! Turn up full volume, why don't you?
Aubrey, weird, I can't even get through my couch!
Sorry, you're gonna say.
I was gonna say that you were on a kick for a while. I felt like with the fasts or the diets. It just seemed like every other month you were like, I'm starting this new diet.
Yeah. Well, part of like some of them were diets to lose weight or like cut down, and then some of them were like actual fasts.
Oh right.
So
right. But when you did the carnivore, you went all in.
dude, the first time, that was one of the hardest things I've ever done, bro. There were times I thought I was gonna literally lose my mind.
I mean, I admire not just the fortitude like during the times, but especially going out to eat with us and just seeing us get like all these carbs and stuff on our plate, and then you just have like, we went to Texas Roadhouse, you couldn't have the bread.
Yeah.
Like you just had to get just a steak.
Yeah.
And
that steak was pretty fire though.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
They nailed it. But yeah, then I remember when I asked for eggs, and the only eggs they had was like, it's just like shredded hard-boiled eggs or something like that.
what?
Or like cut up. It was like diced.
Hard-boiled diced eggs?
Yeah, that was the side they brought me out. But I just didn't get it because I've seen so many people do the carnivore and they love it. Like they'll go on it for years, and I'm just like, dude.
More power to you.
Yeah. Yeah. I really enjoy my rice and pasta.
Yeah, I feel like the only way I could do that is that consistently is if I was in so much agony not doing it. Like if I had some kind of autoimmune condition.
Yeah, yes.
You know, where like every movement I had was painful unless I was only eating meat all the time.
Yeah.
Then I could do it probably.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like for a while I was trying to cut down, and then like I don't know. I was trying to get down to like 195, 190-ish. And I did, but then as soon as you get off a diet like that, your body just
Dude, you got down. I think that's the skinniest I've ever seen you.
I was yeah. I had to wait. I think I got to like 190, and I hadn't been that low in weight since like freshman year of college, which is maybe like sophomore year, but yeah, that was crazy. Like my shorts were sliding down, like it was wild. Yeah. Then what did I do after that? I know I did it at least one more time when like Sam and them did it, and I didn't do it as strict then. Which you were doing more, like kind of like vegan, right? That during that time.
I think so.
Yeah.
That was.
But.
Oh no! I tried vegetarian is what I tried.
Okay. Yeah.
But then we did vegan for like 1 month, and that was awful. That was awful.
Really?
Yeah. The best I felt was when I was doing. It was like 80. It was like an 80-20. It was like 80% vegetarian, 20% meat. That was like the best I felt.
Yeah, I feel like over the last year or so, I feel like I've finally figured out like a diet that works for me.
Really? You dialed it in?
Yeah, because I was like, dude, I gotta stop. I think doing challenges like that are really good for you
Mm.
every once in a while, but at some point you have to sort of like kind of like told myself, it's like, okay, I have to make the lifestyle change. I can't just like do a diet for a month and then go
Gotcha.
back to eating whatever I want,
Mm.
and then just do this like constant back and forth.
Mm.
I was like, okay, what's something I can do long term, like the rest of my life if I have to.
Yeah.
And all I started doing was just focusing solely. I put like all my focus on protein, which is wild.
Okay.
Like basically, the goal was to meet my protein like mark
Mm-hmm.
while staying under a certain like calorie intake.
Okay.
So once I started doing that for a while, I just like kind of got into the rhythm. Okay, like if I eat this and this today, like I should be right around the mark,
Mm.
like hitting my protein and being where I want to be at calorie wise.
Hmm.
So what's crazy is that like if I've taken like a couple pictures, and like when you look at the photo of me now, or
Mhm.
like maybe a month ago, I look pretty much the same as I did at the end of my carnivore diet.
Whoa.
Even though I'm almost 20 pounds heavier right now.
No way.
Yeah. Which means I've like put on more muscle
Yeah.
while like,
Maintaining.
yeah, while maintaining and like kind of cutting down a little bit, but
Yeah.
I feel way better. So
Really?
yeah,
Like a big difference?
yeah. I would say right now it's like the best I've ever felt in my life.
What?
Like maybe not in my life, but probably like since I don't know, since college or whatever. In terms of like my diet
Mhm.
and then my mobility, like all that. I know I've talked about it a bunch, but
Yeah.
but yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's a big deal.
I mean, yeah, yeah. I am kind of starting to cut a little bit right now, just like a little bit, but nothing crazy, you know.
Got to get that summer bod ready.
Yeah, dude. Well, dude, this is like a lot of people. I don't know. A lot of people don't care, but I have always wanted a six pack. Like I just want one so bad. And like I don't know why it's so difficult for me to like do that like football gut.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah,
It's like that's the hardest part to get rid of. But I feel like I'm getting close.
Yeah.
Like right now I can see like the top two
Mhm.
coming in. I'm just like, gosh, dude, I'm like right there. But I just want to be able to say that I had one for like at least like a time in my life. You know?
Yes. Oh, dude, 100%.
Like, that would be sick.
That would be
Like
freaking
a
sick.
real six pack. You know,
Not
like,
a fake
just,
one, dude.
Yeah,
No
yeah,
fakes.
yeah. Not just like from being like super skinny or whatever. Like just like yeah. I don't know.
Sounds like you're on the path.
Yeah. I feel like I have a pretty strong core,
Mhm.
but it's just getting rid of that freaking dude.
Might have to cut out some caniac combos.
I know. Yeah.
Those are probably pretty brutal.
Well, they're really not too bad. There's worse foods,
True.
but the chicken has so much protein, so
Mm.
that's why I don't really mind it.
Mm.
I usually only get a caniac combo if I haven't eaten much
All day.
prior to
Yeah.
that day.
True.
So, and that's what I've been doing for the past like month or so is having like I like dialed down my lunches so it's not as much calories, and then dinner is the same.
So are you
But-
do you do like rice and chicken? Like
Yeah.
what is your, because you said you have it dialed in, like is your protein, are you shooting for like 200 pounds or 200 grams of protein?
It's like if I can get in between 150 to 200, that's like the range I want to be
Gotcha.
in. So it's usually not too hard to hit 150, but then if I know I'm like low, then I'll just down a couple protein shakes or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, it's usually just a lot of rice and chicken. And then yeah. Do you know what's crazy is like kind of like before we went camping,
Mm-hmm.
my diet, I don't know why, but I got on this like hamburger kick. I was just eating, I was like, my diet was like mainly hamburgers, like that I would cook at home,
Yeah.
and rice and chicken. And like pasta here and there, like pasta and chicken here and there.
Would you like?
Uh,
You're saying like a full hamburger, like hamburger buns,
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Gotcha.
Like lunch was usually 2 hamburgers. Yeah. And then dinner was like either rice and chicken or pasta and chicken. And dude, I felt amazing.
Really?
Yeah. When I was doing that for like that month, I felt amazing, dude. I don't know why, but I think I need to start eating more red meat. And I think that's what it was.
When you say amazing, you mean like your workouts, you had all the energy you needed.
Yeah.
Like not crashing throughout the
I
day.
feel like I was really putting on muscle, like
Yeah.
and I felt like I was recovering like really quickly. Like I just felt good. Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of crazy. But I noticed that I don't like a lot of my protein comes from chicken a lot, which I think like chicken has the most protein out of any meat. But like red meat, it just has a lot more nutrients. So
Yeah.
I think that could have been why, because I was eating more red meat than I had been used to. But
Dude, I tell you what, like I really can't overstate like how much having that mold out of our body, like out of my body, has affected my cardio.
really?
Yes. Oh my gosh. I just never. So for context, like we had mold in our apartment, our previous apartment's air vents, and we were there for 2.5 years. No, dude, maybe might have been longer than that actually.
Might have been, yeah.
It might have been like closer to three years. And so I just remember like, we would get really tired and like end up taking naps, just like kind of dozing off, like, after work or something like that, when we had gotten a full night's of sleep and had good food and all this stuff. And we were like, what the heck is going on? And so I ended up getting tested, and I had like 4 out of the 5 that they tested for were present in my blood. And I remember, because what would get me so down on myself is like I would go to jiu-jitsu and I would just not be able to, I felt like not be able to perform very well. And my cardio, I would either have to like sit out a round or two, or I would have to, or like my time to in between classes could not be very long, or else I would lose like what little cardio I had built up.
Yeah.
And so then we ended up moving out of that apartment and got on like a detox regimen with vitamins. And then, because I didn't realize like how much it was really affecting me until obviously we got better. And it's like, it's just insane, dude. Like how, because I was thinking that it was, maybe because of type 1 diabetes or I wasn't really sure. I was like, maybe I'm just need to, I was just thinking maybe I just need to have better cardio.
Yeah.
But like now feeling like I do now, I'm like, that's why I wasn't doing well, just because for whatever reason it was affecting my ability to like recover in that way. And so now it's just, it feels so much better to be able to, I don't know, have my freaking cardio back.
Yeah.
And find out it actually was a legit reason, not just like not just me. I mean, I was like to the point where I was like, wow, I guess I just have to like start running on top of this, or like I don't know, I got to do something.
That's crazy, bro. I would not. I didn't know mold could be so like I don't know, under the radar
Hmm.
like that.
Well, it's like it was like a frog in boiling
Like
water.
it's so subtle. Yeah.
It's
Oh yeah, yeah.
so subtle. Like it just comes on so slow that you don't even notice. And that's what sucks is like the symptoms are so easy to misconstrue. Like, well, oh, what are you gonna say? Like fatigue?
Yeah.
I'm tired.
Yeah.
Like, okay, sleep better. You know, like
Yeah. Well, it's like growing up in sports too. You're trained to like,
yeah,
nah, dude, get over it. Like to tell yourself
yes,
that. Yeah.
yeah. It's like fatigue is like one of the worst excuses to use, and
Yeah.
and like medically could be a bajillion things.
Mhm.
It really could be.
Yeah. Right.
And so like having type 1 diabetes, it's like, oh well, it's almost like an extra layer on top of trying to diagnose
Mhm.
something else, because then you start questioning. You're like, well, is it just because like maybe it was just because this thing I ate, or maybe it was because my blood sugar was too high, or not, it was too low, or maybe it's
Yeah.
because I had an adrenaline spike, or so you just kind of can rationalize
Yeah.
what it is on top of that. So I'm very glad we got out of that.
Mm. Honestly, I feel like something that my parents always taught me when I was younger, which I'm glad that they did, is just to pay attention to your body,
Hmm.
right? Like, I don't know. I don't know if that's something that, like, just like be aware of like what's going on.
Mm.
Like, okay, I ate, like, I feel this way. Why? And kind of like diagnose it and just like and process it. Like, okay, what did I eat before? What did I do before that? Like, and really just pay attention to like how you feel, because I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It seems like some people just like don't pay attention to that at all. At all. You start having like a tweak in your shoulder, or you start having like a pain wherever, and you're just like, oh, I guess I'm just getting old.
Yeah.
But like, there's probably like a good reason, that you can figure out. In most cases, like sometimes there's problems that like, you can't do anything about. But yeah, I appreciate that my parents taught me that growing up, like just to be aware and be conscious of like how you feel,
Yeah.
and not just like dismiss everything.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Do you feel like sports helped with that too?
Well, yeah. Sports helps you like get over it. It helps you.
But do you feel like sports helps you like be more aware of your body? Because like, you're actually, I feel like for me, growing up, like just small town, like you just played, I was just involved in a lot all the time. And so I got to, you to get more data on to use for that. Like, I feel like if you're not really an active kid, you never ever are like fatigued or tired or have an injury, even if your parents showed you that, it would be kind of hard because you're just like, well, I always just feel okay.
Yeah.
But like when you go have like, a doubleheader baseball game, or, you go play a football game, or you do soccer, or what's another sport that I played? I guess those are the main ones.
Basketball.
Basketball, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, you get that like you wake up the next day after like playing a full court basketball game,
Yeah.
and you're like, wow, I did not know I had those muscles in my legs.
Dude, yes.
Because they
Yeah.
hurt so bad. Or like the first time I think I told you about that, like the first time I had summer workouts going into high school doing deadlifts the first time ever. And it was like freaking 10 sets of 10 and like more weight than I probably should have been lifting. And I couldn't walk for a week. It's like, I didn't know that I had those.
Yeah.
I didn't know I could feel this way.
That's a good point. Yeah. It's actually a really good point. Yeah, I guess, I would say sports definitely have a lot to do with that. Like that, just being able to be, I guess, like self-aware. Not just mentally, but like physically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I feel like it's paid off. I mean, dude, I never go to the doctor, you know, like never. I've gone like once in the past. Like, dude, when I hurt my back,
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the first time I'd gone to the doctor in like 5 years.
No way.
Yeah. Which, I mean, maybe I wouldn't recommend that for. Maybe it's not like a great thing,
Yeah.
but she said I was healthy. You know, like I'm.
What like when you went for your back, what did she say about your back?
She said it was probably a muscle spasm. That's all. Yeah, I thought I like pulled a muscle or like strained a muscle or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe, I don't know. It was. Yeah, she said it was a muscle spasm, probably because of how quickly it healed.
Mm.
So I don't know. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, yeah, you take care of yourself, so I mean,
I
probably
try.
should get.
I try.
So the thing for me is like I have to.
Yeah.
That's what's interesting though too is like my doctor. I don't know if every diabetes doctor does this, but he makes me get like a full blood test like every 6 months.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
So and
Yeah.
I actually had
Yeah.
I had my appointment today.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
And yeah, so like I'll go to like a Quest place and they'll have like the lab order or whatever, and if we can draw a lot of blood, dude, it's like 2 medium vials and like 1 giant vial. And because he tests like because a big thing for diabetes is if your blood sugar is off a lot, like it raises what's called your A1C, which is like a measurement of your body's overall diabetic health, at least in my understanding. And then it can really start to affect like your kidneys, your liver, your thyroid is a big one. And then like if you ever heard of people older that have diabetes, they'll like get their toes or their feet amputated, or they'll have problems with their vision. Those are all from complications of diabetes.
Dang.
Yeah. So like proteins in your urine, ketones, all that is like symptoms of having your blood sugar be irregular. So he like will test for all that and like my cholesterol and everything. So
Interesting.
yeah,
I mean, that's pretty cool.
it's very
Yeah.
cool.
I did get they offered me to get like my blood work done, like get a blood test when I was there, and I did it.
Oh really?
Yeah. And everything, yeah, I had like pretty good results, but dude, it's so annoying because I looked this up one time, and I hate to say this, but like, okay, growing up, I've never had a problem with like needles, getting a shot, or like
Really?
never, yeah, or like getting my blood taken. Like never had a problem. Like I'll watch the needle go in my arm. Like it doesn't bother me at all, you know.
Wow.
But I mean, it hurts a little bit, but never had a problem with it. And then in college, like there was like a whole time. I think it was my sophomore year, that we were all like a bunch of the dudes on the second floor were like going to give me plasma.
Yes, dude.
Yeah.
I just told Taylor about that.
Yeah. So, and I did that, like no problem. Except for one incident.
Yeah, you want to tell that story?
I will.
Okay.
But as I've gotten older, I don't know why, but my body has developed this like certain reaction to when I get my blood taken, and there's a term for it that I don't remember. Like I ChatGPT'd it a while ago, but I don't remember it. But it's like when I get blood taken, like my body just goes into like a shock.
Really?
And like it, like my body like literally wants to shut down for like a minute or so. It's so weird. Dude.
What?
Yes.
But
Yeah.
it's not like you don't feel like passing out.
No, I feel like I'm gonna pass out.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yeah. It's like I start like losing my vision.
Yeah.
And then you'll see I start like sweating. Like you can see like all the pores in my skin, like sweat coming out. Like, dude, it's wild.
Let me see.
Yeah, I don't remember what the phrase is called.
Oh, vasovagal response. Vasovagal response is a sudden drop in heart rate and blood pressure that leads to reduced blood flow to the brain, causing fainting, dizziness, sweating, nausea, or feeling clammy. It's most common cause. It's the most common cause of fainting. It's often triggered by getting blood drawn, seeing blood or needles, emotional distress or anxiety, standing for long periods. Your nervous system overreacts. Your blood vessels dilate. Heart rate slows down. Blood pressure drops. Brain gets less oxygen. Symptoms like lightheadedness or tunnel vision, nausea or cold sweat, fainting or near fainting. Yeah, I fainted one time when I went and got my blood drawn at the doctor because he had told me they need to be fasted labs.
Fasted.
Yeah,
labs.
so you can't eat before them.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah,
so,
okay.
but for my appointment was at like 3:30 or something like that. So I didn't eat all day, and drove like 45 minutes to get there. And this is actually kind of like a core memory because it was my freshman semester, my first semester at SAGU, and which was just like such a wild time for me anyway. And it was right around Thanksgiving, so it was like towards the end of the semester. And I know that because when I was like, oh man, I was getting my blood drawn. I was like, oh, this yeah. And then like my head just drops and like I pass out and like they are like fanning me and I wake up and my doctor's so cool. He was just like, it's like, oh man, are you okay? Like, because like I had to drive myself back, after the appointment.
Yeah.
And so he like took me to their back room, their break room, and they had like a ton of like Thanksgiving food there.
Oh.
Yeah, and he was like, dude, like get yourself a plate. Like, is there anything else you need? And I just like sat there in their break room and just like had a whole like Thanksgiving meal and felt so rejuvenated like afterwards.
Dude.
Oh.
Yeah. Dude, the when I was there and got my blood drawn that time, when I was there for my back, I literally told the lady, I was like, hey, I don't have a problem with this, like needles, whatever. Like I'm not afraid, but like usually I'll become like disoriented or whatever. Like I might feel like I'm gonna pass out. So I was like, do you have any like bottles of water or something I could have after you draw my blood?
I think you told me about
I
this.
might have, yeah. And
she like didn't take you seriously?
No, she didn't. She just like laughed it off. And I was like, okay.
I don't think you understand. I'm telling you I'm about to pass out.
Yeah. So dude, she takes my blood, I'm fine, and then like it's all done. I'm just sitting there, I was like, frick, dude, it's happening. And dude, like literally my vision starts going away, and then and she left the room.
Yeah.
So I'm just sitting there, just like, all right, just relax. And then like I start sweating. I get like super pale.
Okay, so it happens like when they're done.
Yes, it happens like after the fact. I don't know why. It's so weird.
It's interesting.
So weird, yeah. And she comes back in. She's like, you
look so good.
Yeah, are you okay? I'm like, I'm freaking sweating, bro.
You're like white as a ghost.
Yeah. I'm like, do you have any water?
Can I have that? Can I get that water I asked you for?
So she finally got me a bottle of water. I freaking chugged it, and I was fine. Like, walked out, completely fine.
Really?
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing. Which, dude, now that I think about it, when I was younger, when I was like growing up as a kid, I used to have these like episodes where, okay, you know the times where you like stand up really quick, and you kind of feel lightheaded.
Yeah.
So I would have those, but they were kind of like they're like dramatic, like they were much more intense. Where like I would literally almost pass out, like I would fall on the ground.
What?
Yes, I mean, gosh, dude, I don't even know if I would have say this on camera, but like, there was times like I like as a kid I'd like go to the bathroom
Yeah.
and then I'll just get up and get like I would get lightheaded and I wouldn't be able to see anything and I would literally collapse like on the bathroom floor
What?
for like a second or two.
No way.
Yes, and I would just like get up and be like, "What the crap?" Dude, Jared used to make fun of me, bro, because there was one time that I was walking around in the living room. This is at our older house, and I got off at the couch and I was walking, and it happened, and I literally like fell onto the wall, kind of. It was like on the wall. I was just like trying to stay conscious.
Yeah.
And Jared would make fun of me all the time, bro. He would like fall against the wall.
Oh my gosh. I can imagine him just like sitting in the living room and he just like sees you go in the bathroom. He's like, next thing you know, he just hears a thud and you hit the ground like, oh, that's Zack.
Well, like, yeah, it was so weird because it wouldn't happen all the time. It was just like out of nowhere. So my mom took me in to get it checked out, and they're just like, yeah, I mean, he seems completely normal, you know. So I wonder if that has anything to do with it.
But like you're saying that with the whole blood drawing thing, that didn't start until recently though.
It didn't start until like the last few years, until like the last like maybe 5 years or so. Yeah. Weird, dude. Weird.
As a random side note, but I feel like passing out is honestly, I don't know. It's like, it really is such a reset for your body. That's like it's like honestly why in jiu-jitsu, I feel like it is like one of the most humane ways to turn someone off, like their power button. It just like turns them off. Cause there are times where it's like, I'll be in a chokehold and, it's weird how some chokeholds are more, they're like more painful than others. Other ones, some of them feel like you're literally like falling asleep. And it's like, it's not really painful. It's the weirdest thing. Like when someone gets you in a triangle choke, like in between their legs, because it's like your arm is against your neck and their legs are around your neck. It's more dispersed pressure. And so it's super easy. You think you're okay, and then you just like, it's almost just like your head hitting a pillow and you're going to sleep.
That's
and
so
it
weird.
takes you longer, and when you tap and you get out, it like takes you longer to come back to your body. Versus there's other chokes that like, I feel like a rear naked choke they're a lot more painful, and they tend to happen a lot faster.
Yeah.
But honestly, I've never gotten completely like choked out to the point of being unconscious in jiu-jitsu, but I've had several times where I've been like, okay, I waited a little too long there. And then you just, but I just feel like that's the most humane way to put someone out, because it's not painful. It typically doesn't have any long-term effects.
I mean, yeah.
Unless you hold on for a little too long and then they die. There is that.
Yeah.
There is that.
It is crazy to think about that. Yeah.
But you were saying that you were gonna tell us. You were saying that the second floor guys, there was a time you guys all went and got plasma.
Yes. So, yeah, this was like my third time giving plasma. Didn't have any problems before.
Okay, wait, like back up a little bit further and like explain like how did it kind of come about? Because this was before I was there.
Yeah, this was sophomore year, and this was before, like, I didn't have a job in college, when I was working at Domino's or anything. I just had a summer job where I did landscaping, and so like throughout the semester, I had to like really kind of be careful with my money and stretch it. So then there's this like whole phase where I think Sam might have been the first one to start it, of course, and he started going and giving plasma. I didn't like really even know what it was at the time. I'd heard of like donating blood, but I was like, dude, what is plasma? But so Sam started going, and then like a few other guys, and then it just became this thing. Like, I mean, you could go and make like $100 in a day, you know?
Yeah.
And then like every time they would do like plans.
Yes.
Where if you go a certain amount of days, you get this amount of money. Right?
Yeah.
So you can make a decent amount of money. And yeah, so I'd already gone a couple times, no problem at all, like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it was like the third or fourth time I went with a group of people. We all went together, and I rode in the back. Went there, gave plasma, came out, and then I actually had a football workout, like an hour afterwards. So we had to go. Yeah, we like left the plasma place, and then went to go get food. Then I had to go to a workout right after that.
Mm.
And so we go to this restaurant. It was a Jack in the Box, and dude, I'm standing in line looking at the menu, and I feel it. Like I feel like my you know, I feel like myself getting pale. And then again, like I start losing, I kind of start like losing my vision a little bit. So I'm like, oh frick, dude. And I kind of like walk over and make my way to a seat. And so I sit down. I'm sitting down like this at a seat, and that's when I start sweating again, like crazy. And I was trying to tell I think it was Tyler. Tyler was there. And I think Sam was there.
Tyler's the one that first told me about this.
Yeah. And I was trying to tell him, like, just get me some food. Like, as soon as I eat, I'll be fine, you know? And they said that as soon as I was, like, saying that, my head just, like, dropped. I dropped my wallet on the floor. And then, like, I woke up, and I had a drink. And then they brought me food, and I ate, and I was completely fine. I went and did a workout, and I felt great. Like,
wow.
Yeah. So.
Dang, you went and did a workout after that too. That's kind of crazy.
Dude. Yeah, full on.
Football.
Like, football, freaking weight training. Dude, yeah. But I was fine. I think something about it has to do with me being in like a super relaxed state, I think. Because in sports or anything else, like when I'm doing something that's like high intensity, or, you know, like that's super active or whatever, and I get like a cut or whatever, like I've never had a problem. Like I've never passed out from bleeding or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's specifically those times where I'm in like a super relaxed state, blood is drawn, and then like it just triggers that reaction. It's so weird, dude. I hate it.
I feel like it's not that uncommon. I feel like it's weirder that you don't have a fear of needles. I feel like that is pretty
like
rare.
That would make sense. Yeah. I mean, okay, if we're talking like, you know, some people get those like the back things, like, dude, that's not for me, bro.
I mean, me neither, dude.
But yeah, like a little needle to draw blood, like that doesn't bother me at all.
Dude, I almost had to get one of those, like what you just talked about.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't have to, but I almost did. Where it's a steroid shot, and it was for when I was going through like the lower back stuff after the car accident. And I was able to go to the chiropractor. They referred me I got the MRI, and then they were like, oh, okay, like it's this disc. And then they referred me to
recent?
This was like, this past year. This was like earlier this year. Probably like in January or something like that. And so I went and saw this doctor, and he was like, yeah, basically, so what they do is it's like a steroid shot for pain. And he was like describing it to me, and I was like, okay. Because it's free for me, right? Because it's under their. I'm basically like being
Yeah.
paid by their insurance.
Mm. Mm.
So I was like, okay. And I like set up the appointment and everything. And because he was like describing it to me, he's like, we can give you some like pain meds that'll calm you down. And then we'll also put something over, like something topical before we do it. And it was going to be like one of the giant freaking needles. And like, dude, the morning of, I woke up and I was just like, man, I wonder if this is necessary. Because like, I started thinking about it and I was like, okay, the risk versus reward ratio for this. I was like, I'm not in like extreme pain, but it's like uncomfortable at times. But if I go and get this shit, so then I made the mistake of like looking up what the side effects could be. And it was like, they could like basically like nick one of your nerves, or they could miss.
Dude,
there's
could you
there's
imagine,
so
bro?
many things that could go wrong.
Gosh.
And then I was just like, because I had to Uber there, and then I would have to Uber home too, because you can't drive while taking that medication.
Gosh.
So I was already gonna have that too, and I was just like, I'm gonna freaking cancel this, dude. Which I'm glad I did. I just had a weird feeling about it.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Yeah.
I can handle this right now. Like if it was like a 9 or a 10 on the pain scale,
Yeah.
okay, like
Yeah.
I'll do it. But it just wasn't. I felt like the downside.
That's a perfect example though of being like aware of like your body,
Mhm.
instead of just like, this is what the doctor said. So
The thing that got me was like, okay, if I go and get this, and then tomorrow morning I wake up and something crazy had happened or whatever, and I'm in way more discomfort, or something crazy happened, I will look back on this day and be like, there was absolutely no reason for me to go get this shot.
Yeah.
And I like would have regretted it. And I was just like, all right.
Gosh, dude, that'd be a nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I didn't know that until like this last year or so, that I didn't know how dangerous those like back surgeries are. Like when they get like I don't know what it's called, but like the needles, whatever. Yeah. Apparently stuff like that happens a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Which that would suck, dude.
Yeah, it's weird. Like a lot of back surgeries, at least from what I hear, don't really have the greatest success rate.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, it could make you feel 20% better.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, what's the downside? Well, you could feel worse.
You could be paralyzed for the rest of your life.
And it's just like,
oh
my goodness gracious.
Yeah. I will say the most painful shot I've ever had was, so this was, I was in high school still, and we were actually doing a fundraiser for fine arts. We're doing a car wash fundraiser. And so growing up, I went through phases where I had pretty bad asthma.
Mm.
And for whatever reason, this day, it just like, it was bad. And it was so bad that when I got to the doctor, because like we went to the car wash, and I had to like, for some reason I think I threw up that day, and then it was like super hard for me to breathe. We get home, and because I had like these kind of reactions before, and it just kind of came and went, but this one was like lasting. And I remember getting home and even almost losing. It was weird. Like I almost even lost I was kind of losing my voice. Like my voice was very like talking like this.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was super weird. And I was just laying on the couch. And my mom was like, I'm just gonna take you in. We'll just see. And we go to urgent care, and they were like, yeah, your son's in pretty critical condition. Like basically like I could have died.
What?
So, dude, they gave me this shot, bro. Some kind of, I don't know if it was like an adrenaline booster or something, but dude, they did it on my freaking like butt cheek.
Yeah.
Dude, that hurt so much. I don't know why, but that shot hurt, bro. Gosh. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
I feel like every kid has a core memory of getting a shot in their butt.
Really?
I just think that it's one of those things that, I mean, I did.
Really? I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sucked. Gosh.
Good times.
That was quite the rabbit hole.
I
We
know.
just went down.
Needles and naysayers.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Dude, let me my dad sent me a quote from this book,
Uh-oh.
bro. I thought it was pretty good. So again, this is like a book from that's being written as like a kind of like a sequel to The Divine Conspiracy
Oh, dang.
by Dallas Willard. And so obviously he's dead, he's not around anymore.
Yeah.
But I guess like this team or whatever is putting this book together based off of like a sermon series he did. And so this is, my dad said this is in chapter 1. He said it's a quote near the beginning of the chapter. It says, "In many of our Christian circles, we substituted the message of Christ with the message about Christ. And when we taught about saving, and we, wait, let me restart. In many of our Christian circles, we substituted the message of Christ with the message about Christ. And when we taught about saving faith, we had replaced the faith of Christ with a faith in Christ." Does that make sense? Did you catch that?
Yeah.
So, yeah. We have replaced the faith of Christ with a faith in Christ. Jesus wants to impart his faith to us so we can live in the kingdom as he did when he walked the earth. The difference, faith of Christ allowed him to sleep through the storm while on the boat. Oh my gosh, I cannot read. Faith of Christ allowed him to sleep through the storm while on the boat, whereas faith in Christ moved the disciples to wake Jesus up and get him to do something. Jesus wants us to have faith. Jesus wants us to have his faith so we can rest with assurance like he did.
Whoa. I've never heard a distinction like that
Me
before.
neither, dude. Me neither. I thought that was pretty profound.
Faith of Christ versus faith in Christ. I mean, I love that example of
I
like,
know, dude. I never thought of it like that before. But the more I think about it and the more I think about the way that Jesus taught, I think the more the more I agree.
Yeah, because like if the disciples didn't have faith in Christ, it never would have woken him up to do something, believing that he could do something about it. So like there is a level of like no faith in Christ.
Yeah.
Then there's like, I see it as like the middle is like faith in Christ, and then to have the faith of Christ is him sleeping on the boat in the middle of the storm.
Yeah.
That is really profound.
I know, dude. And I think that's like his whole mission that he was trying to reveal to his disciples was him basically saying like all these things that I'm doing, like, you know, I don't know. This is okay. I want to be careful here because this is like a tricky thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not like I'm not going to pretend that we can do everything that God can do or do everything that Jesus can do, right?
Right.
But it's like but there's a difference. Like Jesus told the disciples, like after he left, like you will do, like you're gonna accomplish more than or I forget the
Yeah,
way he
do
says it,
greater
but, like,
things than this, right?
yeah. Like they're gonna be doing miracles, all this stuff, and like I think to the disciples at that time, like that would have been really. I mean, even the disciples in the Gospels, like you can read how they're just like, how,
Yeah.
how am I gonna do that? And I think that's the difference between. That's what Jesus was trying to show, like. Have faith in the Father, like I have faith in the Father.
I'm trying to think of like what a real world example
I know.
would be like for that.
Yeah. I know for me, I'd explained this to you a few times, but for me, I think there's always like these situations where I would get in a really tough spot and I would kind of go into like a crisis mode mentally where I just like freak out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God, like, where are you? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And like, of course I still like believed in him. I had faith that he's like going to come through, whatever, but I would get super stressed and super tense and worried. And so I think that's something that I've tried to really, really like focus on over the past like year or so. It's just like, when I had originally left the job at the warehouse, like that summer, dude, that was a tough summer,
dude.
And I remember like I felt like that was one of the things that God spoke to me was like, are you gonna trust me? Like how many times have you been in a situation like this and I've come through? So how many times you're gonna like freak out, and not just trust? So, which to me, it's like the equivalent of me freaking out and like I would have been the one to go and wake up Jesus, on the boat.
Yeah, I think for me sometimes it almost feels careless to have that type of faith. 'Cause like somehow in my brain, I'm like, oh, if I'm stressing about it, then I care about it. Which is not really the way that because I think the reader could perceive Jesus in that story as being like careless about. That's what the disciples were like, hey, it doesn't really seem like you care about us right now because you're not saving us from this.
Yeah.
Right. And so like sometimes I think that of just being like, this thing's going on or whatever, to me, there is a distinction there of being like, it's not that I don't care, it's that I'm putting my care, like what I do care about, it's that faith of Christ. I'm caring more about that than I do about stressing about the situation.
Yeah.
So it comes across like I'm not caring. But I guess I'm just like, hey, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm saying is like, I think having the faith of Christ can come across as careless because you're not freaking out about it at all.
Yeah.
Which
like you're not like phased.
Yeah.
Which
most people would be like, this is weird.
Yeah.
You should be.
Dude, that's like freaking Ethan Hunt, bro.
That is.
When he's coming up with some freaking crazy plan.
He's just like,
I'll figure it out.
Figure it out.
Yeah. Shout out to Mission Impossible. We just watched it last night.
I really think that was like 3 movies, maybe 4 movies in one. It felt like that to me, dude. Just the amount of like buildups they had and stakes, like the high stakes in each part of the movie.
Yeah, dude.
I was just like, how are they gonna get through this? How are they gonna top this? And then they did again.
Yeah. I enjoyed it though. It was
Do you think we've seen like a better ending to a series like that in a while? Because obviously I feel like Endgame is like
yeah.
the pinnacle.
yeah. The ending to a series, I don't know.
Like a series of movies.
Yeah, like a
you know?
franchise
Mhm.
kind of. I don't know. It was pretty good in my opinion. I mean, there's like sometimes there throughout all the movies, there's sometimes I think Tom Cruise is like, that was kind of cheesy.
Yeah.
you know, but
Yeah.
but the stories are always good.
Yes.
Like we were talking about last night when we go back to the house. I was like, dude, I wonder how long it takes them to come up with like these plots because there's so many twists and
Oh my god.
the scenarios are always so crazy and wild. Like, I wonder how long it takes them to come up with that stuff, dude. But, yeah, I thought it was a pretty solid ending.
Mm.
I was telling Nathan and Benji, dude, I was like, dude, out of all the Mission Impossible movies, I don't remember like one sex scene or like one, I don't know. Like
It's always just been like a passionate kiss here or there, right? Like I can't remember one either.
But dude, since the third movie when he like left
Mhm.
his wife behind, Julia,
Yeah.
like I don't think he kisses a single girl, except for do you remember the White Widow?
Yeah.
She
kisses
him.
him.
Yeah, like it was stupid, but
Basically assault.
yes, yeah, yeah, which is kind of crazy.
That's a good point. I did not even
Yeah,
realize that at all.
dude, that's like, I don't know, like there's no agenda in the movie. There's no like forced propaganda, whatever. It's like it's just a story about this crazy freaking spy agent who like saves the world.
And a good one, dude.
Yeah,
A good story. Like I never in a million years could I have guessed the things that happened in that movie.
dude,
Like
I
the
know.
twists and the turns.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, we're all saying we take Ethan Hunt over James Bond any day, bro. Any day.
I have to say I must agree.
Dude, when he was something crazy,
Yeah.
we were going wild last night talking about this, and we were talking about like, we started comparing Ethan Hunt to like different superheroes. So we were comparing him to like Hawkeye,
I was just gonna say
Black
that.
Widow, or whatever. And we're
Yeah.
like, dude, I think I'm taking Ethan Hunt.
Dang.
So then I asked Benji, I was like, okay. I said, Ethan Hunt versus Batman. Who are you taking? Dude, Benji said he's taking Ethan Hunt, bro.
No.
Yes, bro.
You're joking.
No. Because we basically said, okay, we were saying like, if it's a cage match, Batman's probably going to win. Because
Okay.
like Ethan Hunt has had like some rough fights where like he's almost been taken out a few times.
True.
But we were saying if it's like open world, no rules, Ethan Hunt and his ability to like use misdirection and like stay completely off radar, I think we all agreed that it would give him the advantage.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because when you first said that, I was thinking cage match.
No,
but
yeah,
you're
we're just saying like open world.
Like they're just
Like
trying to both
Ethan Hunt,
go at
he
it.
has his team. Batman, like whatever.
Interesting.
Dude.
Okay, yeah. So I do think that because he had mentioned that too last night, but I do think that the misdirection aspect is just so overpowered.
Yeah. I mean, he has like every world government is like tries to find him, and no one ever finds him, dude.
It was such a cool moment in the and when he was standing in front of all like the U.S. Generals, like they were getting briefed or whatever about him, and they were like reading through like the things that he had done. That was pretty sick.
Yeah,
like his resume basically.
It was so funny last night, bro. I was dying laughing. when Reggie said when he said Ethan Hunt would be Batman. It's just like such a wild scenario to think about.
It is. It's like I'm just in my head seeing like a Batman versus Superman movie, but it's Batman versus Ethan Hunt.
Yeah.
What a crazy crossover that would be.
Dude, that'd be insane. I'm still waiting for this G.I. Joe Transformers crossover, dude.
When did we get teased about that? It had to be
I
like
think it was like a couple years ago now.
it was a couple years ago, yeah.
I was not expecting that at the end of that movie, bro. That took me totally off guard. That was crazy.
And what's the one that we just saw? It's the Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four.
Yeah. We'll see on that one.
We'll see how that goes. I'm reserving my expectations on that one a little bit.
Same, dude. Yeah. Well, dude.
Any interesting things on X lately?
I mean, there's always something interesting. The biggest thing right now is Musk and Trump's big beautiful deal. Big beautiful Bill. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. Who knows? I think a lot of people are expecting the bill to be passed. So because Congress is like majority ruled by Republicans, so that's like the big thing. But yeah, it was like it must just like flip a switch. It's kind of wild.
Yeah.
Or then there's a whole Ukraine just bombed like Russia, dude. That whole thing.
Yeah, I was seeing something about that. They were, I think one of the headlines I saw, it was like, it was when Ukraine had bombed, they'd used the drones to bomb all the planes.
Yeah.
They were saying, they were like, this is Russia's like 9/11.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's obviously like a clickbait title, but like,
yeah.
I just think the level of damage that it did was pretty severe and like all at once. Because I think what happened was they drove trucks, like big, like military trucks, and they hid somehow the drones on top of the trucks, and they would like fly them off of the top of the trucks.
Yeah.
And like damaged a ton of Russian aircraft.
Yeah. Which
is pretty wild.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people on X say there's got to be someone else. They're like there's some of them are like doubting Zelensky's like I don't know,
military ability.
Yeah, or like his like intelligence to be able to pull something like that off. And so they're saying a lot of people are speculating that there's like someone else behind it, you know. So you know,
I mean, it's
deep state.
I think
whatever.
people have known that it's like a proxy war.
I mean, yeah.
So, and then the other thing they did was the bridge bombing to Ukraine. They did like it was like an underwater. Apparently, they placed like this giant freaking charge on one of the underwater pillars of the bridge this bridge.
I did not hear that.
Yes.
And like it went off? Like
yes. It was like a successful operation.
Holy
like,
crap.
Damaged an important bridge.
Gosh,
so apparently it's been like a pretty big week for Ukraine.
Yeah. Dude, did you see that Cash Patel just he posted this whole thing about how they captured this Chinese like infiltrator that was carrying some kind of bioweapon, bro.
What?
Some kind of like pathogen that can affect like crops and, you know, just make like a bunch of people sick. Yeah. Like
when was this?
This was like 2 days ago maybe.
What?
I saw it was like a long post he made about this Chinese like spy person or whatever that
Did he say like how they captured him or whatever?
I don't remember.
Dang.
There's so many, dude, there's so many things always. It's like,
Yeah.
how do you keep up with it all? Yeah. I was just gonna say another one, but anyways. Oh yes, a lot of people are. I'm seeing a lot of people speculating, some kind of attack or something like soon.
Really?
Yeah.
Like why?
It's, only because you know, you never know, like whether how to like take this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently, like a lot of what's been coming up on the news with Trump and his team of advisors or whatever is like this whole border problem. And so, because like that over the past like 4 years or whatever, you've had all these people come in and they're all like military aged men or whatever. They don't know why they're here. So there's this guy who's like head of border security. I think he's like the what do they call it?
Borders are.
Borders are, yeah.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. He always looks grumpy all the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's the perfect borders are.
Yeah, he really is. Yeah. He's talking about, he's like, oh, I like, basically like he's like they're expecting a terrorist attack. That's like what him and Trump are saying.
Because of how many people have come through the last 4 years.
Yeah, yeah.
Dang.
But like people are expecting it because it's like all of a sudden in the news. And yeah, they're, who knows, dude? Who freaking knows? It's like, I wouldn't be surprised if it happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't,
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I feel like.
But it does make me think about that conversation we had about
the fourth turning.
The fourth turning. It's like everything is ripe for it. That's what it feels like.
Gosh.
So
it is so interesting to think about.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I was gonna say though, is that it's feeling, everyone's talking about how like we're more and more, it feels like we're getting closer to a World War III. Because like the Iran-Israel thing has not been resolved. Like Russia, Ukraine, clearly still going at it.
Yes.
China's invading our country. Like,
yes.
We could have Trump and his whatever his name is, are like saying we could have a terrorist attack at any moment.
Yeah.
So it's like
tension.
There's a lot of tension.
So true, dude.
Yeah.
Well, that was your little 15-minute political
little briefing.
Political briefing. For the day.
Yeah.
Well, we covered needles.
Passing out.
Yeah.
Sports.
Passing out, sports. Some good stories.
Yeah.
In the current political landscape. I feel like that's pretty good.
Not bad.
Well, thank you so much for watching. Appreciate you guys sticking with us. And we will catch you on the next episode of Second Floor Experience. Peace.
Peace out.
Rock on. Peace out, Seacrest.
I want to talk to you. Not now. Later. No, now.